I'm picking out my spots where there's going to be like folds in the fabric and where the darkest shadows are, and I have the energy to really take my time, which is, that fluctuates. Sometimes I really don't have patience, and sometimes I do. And I'm not even necessarily sure this part takes patience, but I'm just giving it some extra time this morning, because it's a kind of a pretty basic painting. Like, there's not a lot going on as far as like compared to like a face, like someone's head. This is a mask, so it's just like kind of variations of shadows. But if I can take my time and make a lot of nuanced forms and shapes within the mask, then I think my original idea is worth pursuing. So I'm just giving it the time that I think it needs, and it always could turn out that, oh, I didn't need to spend so much time on, like, I can just glaze it right now, or I could have started by just glazing it with a heavy brush, a larger brush, and just darken these spots without the small brush. But I kind of did that yesterday, so I wanted to start today's session by just not getting too ahead of myself, and because I like some of these, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but there are some levels of shading in these blacks, like some bluey grays, and I want to bring those out. And just while I'm talking about it, let's see what. So I'm really just tickling this area right now. I'm not, there's a lot of medium liquid, so it's very translucent, and I'm just moving a little bit of paint around. Some of it might even be mixing with the other strokes that I made already. And going live and sharing this kind of process with you is kind of as boring as it gets, but I thought what will happen in a matter of hours, minutes, many minutes, this will like become way more clear. And so I thought it was just a good video to show, because when I started this morning, it was very dark, hard to distinguish even from the background. And I knew that if I spent a couple hours on this, all of a sudden this will really be distinguishable from the background. I thought that would be a good video, so that's why I went live. And I'm doing like this series of paintings that are very heavy on the shadow and the glazing right now, and kind of wanted to capture some of that process. So that's why I brought you in. I think there's also a lot of stages with my work, or work in general, that needs aggression and that needs to depart from being meticulous. Like, you need to have that spontaneity and that aggression in some of your work, but it just depends on what stage. And earlier this painting had a lot of that, like very abstract expressionistic elements of just finding something that I liked. But now we're in a place where it's very methodical and slowly paced. Thanks, Paulina. Good to see you. Art of Mind. What's cooking? I don't think I got discouraged about streaming. It really affects my workflow. So I just had to take a pause on it and refocus, like what's really important to me. And I like streaming, and I think it's actually important. Just it kind of adds a different element to my process, but there's times where I just find it totally distracting, so I just have to pick and choose when I'm gonna. And again, I think this video is a good idea because hopefully in the amount that like this session that I stream, you'll see a significance before and after. From the time I start to the time I finish. So that's why I thought it would be a good stream. So in this process, you can see how it's just like very subtly building up layers. Like it's a very slow burn. You don't see anything dramatic happening very quickly at all, but it starts to come together pretty fast relative to the process. But adding these translucent layers over and over again is a really fun way to make the painting really look really rich in color, and like really makes the colors pop, and I think gives it a lot of depth. And so over the course of the day, because I use liquid's the medium, these will be not necessarily dry, but I can go over them again and again. And then as I really have refined it, I can add a little bit more color and less medium, more pigment, less medium. But if I have patience, it's better for me to really take my time with these glazing layers. It's in my best interest for the art for this piece. And like I said earlier, I don't always have the patience, like this level of patience. I don't even force myself to have it. I just, like, if it's not there, then kind of almost a different strategy or a different process. Let's try to find these folds again. So there's a little like a highlight up here. I'm going to make these up as I go along, but kind of want to, if you add your glazing layer, right, like this, then you want to dry brush. You don't want something that's wet, like full of turpentine to go on top. You want a dry brush to move it around. Even this is kind of still wet, and I patted it multiple times. Again, I'm showing you the subtlety in like the layering of these glazing layers. But you have a lot of control with this too, which is fun. Really easy to fix and manipulate. And if you're in the right mindset, like I said, you're not in the abstract, expressionistic beast mode, then you can just really tinker and tickle and I think it can be really enjoyable. It's just not always enjoyable. I think you have to be in the right mindset to dab and tickle, dab and tickle. But you can see these layers get so subtle, but then you just keep building, and some of them need to stay that way. Some of them need to be really subtle. And then some of them need to be amplified more and more and more. But it's kind of like I said earlier, with a human face, it's very complex, or it can be. This is a black rubber mask or latex mask, so it's almost like in your mind, it's just black. It's just a black face mask. But I want to make it kind of nuanced like a face. I want to add like little complexities. But there's a lot of freedom in it because it's just in your imagination. It's like an impression, representation of a mask. I have some references, but they're all kind of different, and they all have different kind of shapes and forms, so I just got to make it up. But I use the references to like show me what do highlights look like on a rubber mask. And you know, you'll always see like little highlights on the edges here. We don't need to get into that right now. So it's just a reminder to myself, I want to stick to my vision of just adding a little bit of paint and medium don't get too carried away. It's almost like I need to constantly remind myself of that. But with the right mindset, I don't mind. I really kind of, I want to see what these multiple layers of glaze can do to like a rubber black face mask. Wild Wolf, what's up? Art of Mind, how you doing? So I started off by painting these eyes in the beginning of the session. Let's see. You want them to be a little tacky so that I can start putting on the, especially with bright light colors, I want to be able to, I want to make some impact now. Let's see if I can cover up some of those old layers. That seems not to be. So I'll get a little more aggressive because I don't want to. I want to make progress. So the paint's not holding there. That could be for a few reasons. So I don't want to deal with it later. So get some paint on there because over the course of the day it should get a little tacky so I can cover it up good later. Also this, I like, this line is fine. This pupil is higher than here, but I'm gonna go with it. You can find places in your painting where you can test stuff out, which won't have really much impact other than just adding to the base. I just want to see how the colors look. Before I add them on here. Yeah, so that's a problem. You're seeing a problem. It's not a hard solution other than it takes time. But the paint's just not sticking here. So I went a little aggressive there, but I don't want to, I really need it to get stiff today. I don't want to like. I want to be able to move on. Yes, it's pulling the old layer from underneath. The paint's not holding. That happens sometimes. What I'm saying to myself right now is that these eyes need some layers. And kind of like urgently. That's what my mind. Because I think they're going to take quite a few strokes to get them where they're definitely a focal point for the painting. And I want them to be really engaging and well crafted. So let's get some. And we're actually also finalizing kind of their shape. So they just need attention, and kind of like in my mind it's like it's an emergency, like stat, because I'm just realizing, probably because that paint's not, I'd say, okay, let me get these in a spot that I can really tinker with later then. So they need some paint. Still keeping the same strategy of just a lot of medium, but a little less than I had, like for example over here. There'll be some soft edges in this piece and some pretty hard edges, I'm guessing. I'm in a phase where I do want things to like shadow out, like get lost in the shadows, so you can kind of escape some of the additional details with that. I'm not sure if this eye will or not, but like this might be indistinguishable at the end, this line here, very subtly anyway, between the background and the mask. I haven't decided yet. Whatever looks good, right? I don't know.
Why?
Come.
Then we buy avocado.
Yeah.
I don't see avocado. Where did he put?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, where's those other fruits?
Well, it's. Oh, you're live.
Where's the other fruits, honey?
I eat it. I think it's here. Yes, it's here. Oh,
On, please.
sorry. Bye.
Right. Can you click right down? Like a tornado. I think normally I'm the tornado in this house. You see, I'm pressing that paint on. Because every time I brush it on or push it, it doesn't stick. So I just almost like, and I don't care what color it is right now, I just need it to stick. I really want these shapes to be in place, and I really want this foundation to be set is today, so I'm just trying to get some. The medium will really give me an opportunity to maybe actually make that happen. I put the painting in front of a fan when I go out and let it just sit in front of a fan, plus it's pretty hot here, and it helps my process and my times, my drying times. So I'm also playing with the shapes. Let's get closer to where they're going to be. So I wasn't lying about the, like, this is, I should have touched it before I just put a little paint on there, but the glazes, these layers do really come together pretty quickly. Especially for oil paint. My foundations lately have been acrylic, like my underbody is almost. Which I really enjoy doing. It helps speed up my process time significantly. And I just enjoy it for some reason. I'm actually surprised. I don't know why I enjoy it. But I like putting the base. Acrylics really, you can really work it really fast and change things dramatically. I think that's why I like it. So it gives me I use the word foundation, but that is the best example. I can get a foundation really fast by painting just the first phase of the painting. I can get some ideas really locked in and they become concrete really fast with acrylic. Then I glaze the painting with like an acrylic medium. And I do that a few times. And then it's almost like, okay, I'm ready to start the painting, as crazy as that sounds. Because I've painted like this before without underbodies. In fact, that's probably more my standard. But the acrylic base is just, it's something that I'm playing with quite a bit. And I think the reason why I think it's worth considering or looking into, it really makes the colors pop. It gives something, it gives a foundation that really, a really vibrant, helps the painting look super saturated, and just like a normal underbody painting would, like a normal oil painting, like not necessarily black and white or grays, but underbody. See how you can just play with the shape? Just so gently, very gently. You can start playing with the shape. That's something that I find with oils to be way more satisfying than acrylic. Acrylic's almost like you almost need a sense of aggression with acrylic to make it do what you want. Whereas this is just like, yeah, it's almost like fine art. The difference between oil and acrylic is fine art. Now, there's a few artists that I know that paint in acrylic that are just masters. So it's not 100%. I'm just saying, for me, it's just when I just noticed when I was doing that with my brush, what I'm doing right now, I don't know how to achieve that with oil, or sorry, acrylic. Or it's not as satisfying at all. The process of that, it's like shaking your brush in water, and yeah, it's different. It's totally a different. So I'm still trying to find where I want to add forms. And here again, the fun part of it, like I can make mistakes. So meaning like if I bring out some of the highlights here and they're not right, over the course of the day they're gonna get a little more stiff, and I can just lightly do the same thing with a darker tone, darker black in this case, and kind of remove some of these highlights. So you don't have to be afraid of just, but you want to go slow still. I do. I want to go slow. My mind's just working like that right now. So I want there to be these like folds in the, let's call it fabric. And I want this mask to be nuanced and complicated and kind of otherworldly, like it's not necessarily like, is it a human wearing it? I don't care if it really like follows the human face necessarily. Not exactly anyway. again, like this might become, I might pull back and go the other direction. But I just want to get some paint on here, and I did put some, let's see here. This is when I first started the painting. Oh wow. It's tacky now. So there, I started glazing the painting, what, an hour ago? No, 45 minutes ago? Yeah, wearing leather. Brian, wearing leather. Or rubber. Not sure yet. So, does this go out a little bit here? Let's try. Like a little more oval. I'm not sure. If you're not sure about something, take a break, move around, come back, look at it. I just made a new mixture of like kind of like a dark ultramarine blue. These eyes are also going to have some inflections and shadows and highlights. And they're not just black irises, or pupils rather. They're going to be, I really like black and blue, like they're fun. I don't like the shape of this guy. Something's just not right. You can see the color that I'm actually working with. I'm not sure if it shows up on the camera, but you can see the difference there. So you can see that I'm not just painting in black, even though it might look that way. Here, I'll show you now. Here's the color that I'm working with. When you put it against the white, it looks like a kind of like a light blue or gray light blue. And if you put it against the black tone, it just looks like a faint gray. So if you're not sure about something, I'm going to say that again because I think it's helpful. So when I'm working on the shape of this eye, I've kind of worked on this a few times. It just doesn't come together immediately. Put some strokes down and then come back, like take a break. Pause. Essentially you're just pausing. So I'm going to put some color here. A little too dark for my liking, but that's fine. I'm just still trying to find the shape of his eye. But that's why I move around, because it's like, I still haven't found it. I still haven't found it. Well, don't wreck it. So you gotta take a break. I want the folds in the leather and the rubber. I also want paint on the canvas. You need paint to paint, if that makes sense. So a lot of this underbody is acrylic. I need oil on here now. I need to start filling out the painting with oil paints. And you know when you mix brown and blue you get a green, so there's going to be greens in here too. But I like transitioning between blues, dark blues, greens, and blacks. That's a fun palette. Dark blues and greens and blacks. Especially for the eye. Okay, so now we're going back to the shape that I keep taking breaks on. I think we're going to pull the shape in this way. You kind of got to actually just experiment. I might not get it even now, but you just keep, maybe this, like, you go in, so you add, and then you need to subtract. Add, subtract. So the pupil, right, like it might actually change shape a couple times. And hopefully when you do that, you just it keeps getting a little bit better at it, a little bit better, or a little more in a place where you're satisfied. So earlier I pulled this down, like I pulled this down, and you can see I'm kind of bringing it back up. It's just really subtle. I think that's it. Like if you have that patience to do that, it can be really enjoyable. Because you can really start controlling everything. For the most part. Because there's still I'm still not really like, oh, that's it. I'm happy with that. I'm a little bit confused about it, actually. Butter nugget, you son of a gun. Wow, butter nugget. I can't believe you grabbed that painting, man. That was like really, I didn't know how to, are you there, butter nugget? Are you kicking still? Whoa, what the hell is that? Yeah, butter nugget, that painting was kind of like in the first, I believe that's from late last year, so like 2024, and it was right when things were kicking off for my social media. Like I've had social media for like a decade, right? And it just never went anywhere. And then I hit like a crazy stride, and like that painting is right when things were popping, man. So did you like the frame? I was like, oh, this needs that gold frame. But anyways, I guess my point is thank you. Really appreciate you, man. It's really cool. And thanks for today, because kind of took a break from streaming, so I really appreciate it. First time streaming probably like a month. I can start to feel the painting getting a little tacky. So remember I was having a lot of trouble like covering up some of these areas. The paint wasn't holding. Now the paint's getting a little tackier. I'm also sitting back a little further from the canvas. I'm kind of like perched at a weird angle just to see. You always see like in movies, they depict artists by like putting a few strokes and then standing back, looking at the canvas from further back, right? The movies always go like, they put a couple of brush strokes and then they walk backwards and look at the painting from further back. And that trope is pretty real. I need to like move my eye, like you change your vision and your eyesight, like your perspective is like, that's pretty much bang on. Sometimes I forget to do it, but it really helps a lot. You'll even see other artists, they turn their art upside down. You'll see artists like, yeah, they change like literally the angle of the painting. This I don't have as much, I don't need to do that as much because it's pretty surreal. And I'm not like hugging closely to a reference. Butter Nugget, sorry, I'm lagging on my side. The frame is perfect. My fiance was prepared to go to the frame. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I was just trying to think like that was just a really cool painting at a really cool time where I gave myself a lot of room just to be crazy and it was working. Sometimes I've created art where there wasn't, you know, I allow myself to get crazy and it just kind of doesn't have necessarily a successful outcome. But that piece was like on my wall, literally, until you grabbed it. Because it was just kind of a moment in time where I was like, okay, I'm in a really cool groove right now. So it was just a highlight piece, man, and I just wanted to say thank you for what it's worth. Kind of give you some background story to it too, a little bit. I don't know why I'm obsessed with Sailor Moon. If someone asked me, I'd say I'm not. I think it's to do with my childhood or something. And just kind of it's a really good base for getting creative and mashing up Mao with Sailor Moon, come on. And then in this abstract kind of surrealist way. And thank you for sharing your work with us. It truly is a... Yeah, thanks, Butter Nugget. That's so cool. It really is. Like, even you just popping on now is putting me in a... Thanks, because it's morning here. Well, early afternoon now, but starting off my day really cool. I really appreciate it. Feels great. So I thank you for your the momentum. Means a lot. Goya had I'm not a art historian at all, but I do, as I get older, I get more and more interested in what other artists went through and what caused, like cause and effect for artists is fascinating to me. And the Goya story is pretty interesting. He had a series called The Black Paintings, and I've been painting all my panels black, starting like all my panels that I'm priming and prepping, they're all black. Like I painted the base black, and then I like, kind of like, the idea is just to work the painting in from that starting point. It's like a really subtle, minor adjustment, but I'm finding it makes quite large impacts, because everything does have like a darker tone, like the subject matter. I don't know, I always have these dark elements, but it really shifts a lot when you're starting from the shadow, the shadow side, right from the get-go. And I was looking at Goya's dark paintings, black paintings. Super fascinating. My understanding is that Goya painted in one way, and then he went deaf. So his paintings started to really get gnarly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of my ignorant understanding of his work. But it's actually, I believe that's true. So that's pretty wild. Like if you see his work before he went hard of hearing, I'm not sure if like completely deaf, but he went, he did go deaf, and then his paintings changed, is my point. And to see that transition, super crazy, super impactful. He also traveled a lot for his work. Which I found interesting. I was interested in him quite a few years back, but yeah, you know the Goya tales. As I get older, it's fun because I get more and more interested. I don't know, as a kid or in like high school, art history was just not my thing. Like, I was watching, it's a really great show, and by show I mean channel on YouTube, that Dweller, Butternugget. There's this guy named, I know for sure it's Dweller something, and he does art, essentially art history, but in a really engaging way. And I just subscribed to that. I'm really fascinated. I was watching him break down the pencil drawer lady, Lipton, forget her first name. And her works are just so fantastic. And I don't really like illustrations, like drawings and pencil drawings. Like I find them, I just don't enjoy them, but her works are just super captivating and really strong conceptually. Totally won me over in that way. Something Lipton. Who knows the Lipton drawer lady? What's her first name? Lori, right? Lori Lipton. It's gotta be. Pretty sure. Anyways, look up Lori Lipton's art. That's kind of, I watched that a couple days ago, and then this painting. I always feel like certain things contribute, right? Everything contributes to where you are today, what I'm painting today. And so there's a little bit of Lori Lipton influence somewhere in this. It may not be like tangible or quantifiable, but I really believe that like everything just keeps adding to your experience, which then when you create, it has influence, right? To some capacity. And another thing is, like with social media, I see so much art every day when I'm scrolling. We've never had that before, ever. You'd have to remember, as a kid, you'd go through like a textbook to see art pictures. So it's so curated, so selected, and so like finite. And now you just doom scroll through like thousands of fucking paintings in a day.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, you have to come back?
I do. Is it 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Can you find it?
Sorry?
You found it? Humor?
Yeah, I'll order something. He called me now.
So, let's see. Remember, I just want paint on here, because when I come back later today, like even after I eat, I want these to be...
Here you go.
Oh, that's exciting.
Love you, bye.
Oh yeah. My fan is done. The panel.
So your brothers.
So I had like twine or like string wrapped around this. Just felt like it needed something else. And then I thought the string would be attached to like a fly. I was kind of building a story out of the painting, right? And then I thought about...
You're the one of the kitchen.
I thought about, what? A fly. Yeah, like building a story. Oh yeah, Google. The painting I think was going to be never search your mom's Google search history or something like that. So I was imagining if you took like all your top 5 secrets from your Google search history and put them in a painting. obviously heavy on the satire and kind of way to like reveal secrets in a subtle, maybe not so subtle concept. I think it's a good concept. In fact, I kind of thought it'd be fun to do more. Like sometimes people ask me to do commissions, which I don't really do. I just don't have a desire to. But if you told me like 5 of your secrets in confidence, and you can even make them abstract in a way, right? You don't have to, not looking to sell your information to the FBI. But if you told me things that, you know, that were private, I guess is a better way to, versus secrets. I think there's something in that that I'm fascinated, like where you told me 3 secrets or 5 secrets, and then I built a portrait, like who you really are based on your secrets. I think that's the concept for this painting. And so I switched over from thinking about my mom's search history, like, okay, let's imagine what my search history would be. And a lot of it's because I paint like this all the time, it's not really secret. But the concept remains. Like for sure you would find a ton of bondage in my search history over the years. Like it would, I've gone down the rabbit hole on like leather attire and positioning and kind of like, it's really fascinating when you start looking into like the products that people produce for bondage and stuff like that. It's really wild stuff, man. And I'm always a sucker for like just flat out strong imagery. So when there's like really aggressive or strong imagery, I get really inspired in one way or another, or worked up, or so I am putting a lot of like, so there's a lot of these grays, light and dark blues here, and then I go over them again and tone them down. Like that's too much already. Let's just tone that down. But it needs paint. Just keep getting paint on there. Because I also want to find the folds and I want to make this fabric look kind of like, it almost looks like clouds, right? Like in a dark sky. But you need paint to paint. That's something I'll stand behind. Like you need paint on there in order to paint. I can't find what I'm looking for if there's nothing there. So just put some paint down. Like a lot of this might get phased out again and go the other way, where it becomes really dark shadows. This area specifically. But let me just bring some color. Let's change the tone, the value, brighten it up, and we can go backwards and darken it. And I did give myself a lot of space to do this, like it took a while to just add this layer on top, but it gave me time to think, and I needed it. Even this area is becoming a little more tacky. You see, when I brush this area, like, there's nothing really moving around. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. I have to put some details on that zipper. It's got a zipper for a mouth. Let's see what happens when we, let's dab these on, because this area is still a little problematic. I always like the idea of like having like a realistic cartoon. Like cartoon realism. Yeah, see the paint's not hugging there, so let's really pad that. And the idea is like if the paint's not sticking to the canvas, get as much paint on there as you can while measure it out so you know that you can come back on it today. I don't want to wait 2 weeks for the paint to dry to go back on it. I want to go back on it today. And when I can't, man, that's frustrating. But usually with glazing, with liquid, you should be okay with that. You should be able to do it. Just make sure you have enough liquid on here and enough pigment to make an effect and really get a layer down. So I can come back today. Like, we're talking like hopefully in a couple hours, I can put a better, like even another layer of glaze on here. I don't really know with this piece, I don't know where the light source is coming from. Kind of just make it up as I go along. Very abstract in that way. Sometimes that can work against you. We'll find out how much. But I'm imagining some light is reflecting off these frills somewhere. I at least want to define them more. So here you have your glazing layer, and then here's your brush, dry brush, to move them around. Again, super subtle, and as that dries, it gets even more translucent, transparent. Not everything has to make sense. It just has to look good. So it doesn't have to make sense, but it does have to look good. It's kind of the secret to surrealism. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to look good. Something happened here, I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, I have no idea. A lot of artists do that too, see how you're making the brush strokes fold with the fabric. That helps. Okay, what's going on? Kind of gotta figure this out. I don't want to do it later. So alright, kind of got it. Again, it doesn't have to make sense. Just has to look good. What'd you say, Butter Nugget? The secret's sounds. Yeah, I'm so excited about this glazing, starting from black. And Butter Nugget, you know what else I was thinking about? I have, I don't know if I still have them actually, but I used to live in China when I was in my mid-20s. And I have like old Mao propaganda posters. I should say I had. I really don't know where they are. But I had old like Mao propaganda posters. When I lived there, they would sell them on like markets and stuff. I was thinking about, I just wasn't sure if you're still there, but yeah, I used to live in China. Thought that was fascinating for that piece in particular. But back to what you're saying, yeah, like I'm excited about kind of sticking, and it's just happening pretty organically. I didn't set out to like, oh, I'm just gonna, I don't even know how to express it, but I don't know why I just painted all my panels black. Like even out the panels that are being prepped, I just coat them in a blacky brown base, and I want to work from there. There's something about it. It's super, like, it's a simple thing, but it really excites me. And then just glazing to build up the layers also really excites me. I used to glaze a lot, like I go through phases. And I think another way to say this is I'm adding layers that are just really transparent over and over again. There's just less pigment and more medium. And I have the patience to keep going and then build from there. But check out that Dweller podcast. I think you'd get a kick. I don't know if it's a podcast or just a YouTube show. And these still look like these dark clouds in the sky. And I think as I criticize myself a lot. So right now, my brain's saying like, this is way too much gray. There's way too much going on, so I want to go backwards and start. But you need paint to paint, so you got to go the other way. So get a foundation on here. Somewhere to start from, and then yeah, we can go the other way. But I do want I'm imagining the person wearing this mask is otherworldly. See how I like make his lips here, even though I guess in theory they should be over here. I think there was like a time, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but there was a time where like these frills, for example, would have caused me a lot of, these frills would have caused me a lot of energy, and they would have been really challenging. And that could go for a bunch of different kind of objects or certain things that I've painted in the past. But I think my point is that things get easier. So now, like, I'm not even looking, before I used to, like, I would have to, like, there's times where I would have to either grid this out, like, to get the frills how I wanted them, or I don't think I've ever traced frills, but, like, and really study the photo, the reference, like, I'd have to really examine it. And now, like, I haven't looked at the reference for my frills for a while. Now, I've painted them a few times, so that's kind of like, that's one of the main benefits, or like, so I have an idea already kind of etched in my mind of how frills go and how they work. But I think the more that you do something, right, the easier it gets, is the stupid idiot way that I'm trying to express it. So I just thought that was fascinating, just remembering how certain things used to really cause me a lot of energy and a lot of, like, things would be really, I guess, challenging, and they would take a lot longer. And now they've gotten so much easier. And there's always room to improve too. Like, it doesn't mean like I've tapped out. Things can keep getting better. So that's also something about painting. You can always keep getting better and better and better. I feel like that was maybe nothing. I just said absolutely nothing, but I'll try again really quickly. Like, I've had times in my past where something as like these frills caused me a lot of problems, and I would need a lot of different techniques in order to produce these frills. And now, years later, like, it's so much easier than it once was, and the amount of time that I need to spend on them is significantly less. And that's not saying, oh, these are really good, or these are it's just an observation. I do remember, loosely, I remember, like, the frills would take a lot of energy in order to produce them. And now they don't. And I think that's interesting. And that goes for basically everything. Blind Dweller, yes. Butter Nugget, yes. Blind Dweller, thank you. Tyrone, I'm good, man, long time. Horror Gamer, muscle memory builds, for sure. You can make it look easy, but if we tried this, it would not look. But even for me, the Horror Gamer, like, I really mean it. Like, I don't think these are probably the best frills, this collar I've ever painted. But to get to even this stage before, as you're saying, like, it was so tedious and challenging, and I'm sure I've gridded, like, it's like a technique I've used, like a grid or tracing, to get these frills to where they are now. And now I'm like it's almost, yeah, like you said, muscle memory. But I had to just fix these earlier, again, I'm not claiming that they're Rembrandt level, but to get to here took so much energy before. Good Lord. So I think all I'm saying is I hope it comes across as encouraging. I think that's why I wanted to mention it. For me, I even find it encouraging for myself. Because if I want to tighten these up, I will look at a reference again, see like, okay, where's the shadows, where's the any smaller details, that kind of stuff I need a reference for. But just to myself, I find it encouraging, like, fuck, these used to take me, because I didn't know how the loops go, I didn't know where I should put highlights, I didn't know where I should, yeah, and now I just, like, kind of whip it together. And to get to this stage took so much work, so I'll drop it now. Anyways, I just find it encouraging, like, to look back, because I painted frills for a while, or a few times. Probably not very groundbreaking information, but I find it interesting. Even same with graffiti. There were times where I would study street art and like look at certain, I would really need to hyper focus on somebody else's tags and see how like they made their lines, and now I'm able to kind of just do my own thing. It's another win. I still like to look at I still get inspired by other artists' tags and stuff, but it's not a requirement for me in order to produce one. Another win. So, I'm not sure. Butter Nugget, did you know about Blind Dweller? Yeah, I'm definitely not. All right, man. Tyrone, great to see your name. I don't know when I'll come back on here again. Maybe more often, maybe not, but good to see you as always. Kitty, I'm loving the way your art is coming together always. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about this, where I'm at right now in this particular, I wouldn't call it much of a transition, just this week I'm producing a lot of like pieces that are that come from the shadows. kind of the best way to explain it. So I start really dark and then build up with like really a bunch of translucent layers, a bunch of glazing and medium, and slowly build up. I just have the energy for it, so I think I want to see what happens if I can keep these techniques. It's hard to keep these techniques. I wouldn't call them tedious, but they're very I don't want to even say time consuming. It's just a different style. But I really like how I have the energy for it, so I'm just going with it. And by going at this pace, it really gives me enough time to think about like, hey, like if this is slowly curving into the shadow, when do I stop adding? Like, I can get. I have enough time to like play with my transition. It's not rushed. And remember, it doesn't have to necessarily make sense. It just has to look good. So like, maybe we leave this dark here, and then we brighten up over here. Why? Well, why not? As long as it looks good. Sometimes light doesn't make sense, especially to like just like a simple eye like mine. Like, why is there light here and light here, but not light here? Obviously, it's due to shadows and the form. But sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense, so you can kind of take advantage of that yourself. Like, why is there this line of light here, right? You'll see painting like that, or even photos. Why is there light here? Oh, well, there's reflection, and you can obviously like explain it away, but it just looks odd. So you can take advantage of that. So it doesn't have to make sense, it just has to look good. Even like graffiti's the same thing. What does it say? Not really sure. I had an idea when I started, but it kind of diverted, so it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to look good. Like, everyone's seen really great graffiti and has no idea what it says. No idea. Not everyone, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of art out there. You're like, what is that? No idea, but it looks great. In my case, I play with that quite a bit, because I bet you if you asked most graffiti artists, they'll tell you what it says. In my case, I have no idea. I would just make, every time I look at the painting, the definition would change. Okay. I think that's it for now. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. Means a lot. Butter Nugget, thank you. No, first time hearing of him, I'm definitely gonna, yeah. I'm passionate about people that give that much energy to contemporary artists for the most part and do a really good job. I think the Blind Dweller person seems like that's their art, is like really showcasing, I think for the most part, like, you know, when I mean contemporary, but the last 100 years, the stories and the styles and the history, I'm surprised at myself that I'm so interested in it. I'm like fascinated that I have so much interest. So it's definitely worth checking out. And Butter Nugget, thank you. Thanks everybody. I'm gonna go. I need to maybe put this in the in front of a fan, and I'll come back to that later. Until next time.